these recipes are from the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. So let's get started. Our first recipe will be pumpkin pasties, or some call them pasties. And we're going to make the crust first. The ingredients you will need from left to right are 4 to 6 tablespoons of ice water. And then there's 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 5 tablespoons of cold butter cut into chunks, 3 tablespoons of vegetable shortening chilled and cut into chunks. And on the far right-hand side in the front is 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Instead of using all-purpose flour, I only had whole wheat flour, so that's what I've used. I suggest you do use the all-purpose flour because the wheat one is a heavier textured one and harder to roll out. It just doesn't work out as well. As you can see, I'm putting in the granulated sugar. I'm using raw sugar, and that's why it's brown. And I've also put in the salt. You noticed I used a whisk to bring together all those dry ingredients. Otherwise, it would just sit on the top. So I wanted to mix that up a little bit. Now next, I'm going to have to cut in the butter and the shortening. And this is because I don't have a large enough food processor to do anything like that. I'm just using a fork, and this is the way that they've done it for years before they had food processors. It doesn't take all that long, and I did make this video go a little faster. You can see I'm just zipping right along there. You notice that glass of water is still sitting there. Well, I don't need it right now, but later on down the line I'll have to moisten that pastry up, the dough up, so that it'll be easier to roll out. I was very disappointed when my video from the SD card, this is my backup video from a smaller movie camera, but the original one, the really good quality one, when I was transferring the data from the SD card over to my hard drive, something happened and it got lost, and it's not in the hard drive and it's not in the SD card. It came up with an error and it said, "Do you want to stop?" And I said yes, and everything went poof and goodbye. So this is not exactly the view that I had. I had a better view. It came straight on, but this works out, and you see a little bit more of my kitchen. You can see how tiny it is. So here we go. We're getting this done little by little. The one thing nice about doing a cooking show at home is you don't have to drag everything to the studio. Bring everything. We have a portable kitchen. There's no oven, but there's a stovetop. So bringing the kitchen down was always quite the project. We have a slight hill in the hallway up to where we have all the props. So getting the kitchen down, and there were 2 pieces. There was the front with the stove, and then there was the back portion with all of the cupboards and a pretend sink, which didn't work. So we always made sure we put something in there so you don't accidentally go there and throw water in it. It goes right down through, and it would be a disaster. And then, of course, we'd bring down all the walls and everything else. Bringing it back up the hill, it was so heavy. It usually took at least 3 people to get it back up. Oh, now you see that I did put some water in there. I'm making that a little more moist, and I'll probably be putting some more in later. So you're learning a little bit more about CCX that you probably didn't want to know about. This is starting to look pretty good. I think, a little bit more water. And the one thing it does make, because this is whole wheat, it makes a much heavier crust or pastry crust than I normally like. If I were to do this again, I would pick up some all-purpose flour, and I might have to do that on my next adventure to the grocery store. Now I'm going to squish this all together and make it into a ball. And you can see I'm getting everything ready to roll. Here it is. I have my rolling pin, I have my ball of dough, and guess what? I read in the instructions that you're supposed to put saran wrap around it and put it in the refrigerator for 1 hour. Can you believe it? Never done that one. I'm going to have to fold everything up, put the rolling pin away, and we are going to start making the filling. And that'll be next on the agenda. The filling will consist of 1 cup of canned pumpkin. And this is canned pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling. Pumpkin pie filling comes with the spices in it. So again, you want 1 cup of canned pumpkin, 100% pumpkin. 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1/8 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and 1/8 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I'll be putting all of the ingredients in this small bowl, and it's not going to take very long. As you can see, there's only those few little ingredients. And again, I'm using raw sugar, and we're going to whisk that together. And of course, as you can see, I'm speeding this up. And as you'll notice, I have my pastry cloth out, my rolling pin. I'm getting some flour on it. And here comes our pastry pie crust here. I'm wondering if you could make this with some of the frozen pie crust that you purchased at the grocery store. It would be rather interesting to experiment with that. And as I said, also, it might have been a little bit easier going if I did get enriched whole wheat flour. Now I've gone to get some more water because it was a little difficult to get this pastry, this dough to roll out. It just seemed too stiff and too unforgiving. So I put a little bit more water in. It seems to be a little more pliable. And I'm going to be, here we go, I'm rolling it out. Over the years, I've tried all sorts of different rolling pins and different means of rolling dough. And then I came across this pastry cloth. I have no idea where I got it. I am quite the little, what do you want to call it? We have a lot of church bazaar, or church garage sales, I should say, and we have quite a few thrift stores around us, such as Goodwill, ARC, that type of thing. And I have a tendency to find things, and this might have been one of the things. Sometimes they're brand new in the package, or I might have purchased this somewhere, but I have a feeling that that's where I got it. And that little sock thing that goes over the rolling pin was the best invention, whoever made it. Thank you very much. I just put a little flour on there, and it doesn't stick to that rolling pin at all. And the pastry cloth is wonderful. I've never had it stick to anything like a table or anything like that. It just works really, really well. But like I said, I have no idea where I got it. I've had it for years, and I'm sure you could probably make something like that. I'm sure it's just a heavy duty 100% cotton something or another. Well, we're going to get ready to start cutting. And here we go. I came with a saucer, and I decided that's just too large. Especially when I'm going to be the one eating these pumpkin pasties, I want something a little smaller. And I did end up eating these over several days. Finally, I had 2 left, and I said, that's it. And I ate the last 2 and they were very good. They're basically little miniature pumpkin pies. And they're so easy that you just pick them up and just start nibbling away. So I found it a very nice little dessert after a meal to have one of those for my sweet tooth. Now I'll probably be making this go a little faster because this is going, I think, normal speed. And here we go. And see how thin those are? I mean, they're very thin. Um, I like even my pie crust very, very thin. When I make pumpkin pie in a pie tin, that crust is only there for one reason, and that's to keep the pie filling in there. And I roll it really, really thin, put a little flour on the bottom of the pan, put that in, and I'm not real big on crusts. I've always just cared more for the filling. Oh, there's my feet. You can see I'm running around. There's my refrigerator. Very small place. And I was getting quite warm. Kept turning that thermostat down. It kept going down lower and lower and lower. Oh, I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Let's see. Oh, I think I'm going to try one of these. There, I put 2 in. I'm thinking about putting a third, but I just thought no. I'm putting water around that pastry, and that should help it when I use that fork to keep that crust together. There, isn't that cute? Isn't that the cutest thing you ever saw? And I'm making more of those. See, can you imagine if I made that a whole saucer size? It would have been a little bit larger than that. I think for little kids or for a little hors d'oeuvre, the smaller the better. You could probably even make them smaller and just make them finger food and put 1 tablespoon of the pie filling in them. It would take a little longer to do, but actually when you're cutting them out, they look like little pancakes, don't they? And you'll notice in all my shows, I pretty much am wearing the same thing. That little black top and that apron I found out works quite well. The apron has a pocket so I can put the microphone in. But because I ruined this whole film, I have to do a voiceover, which is kind of it's not my idea of a fun, but I've done it for so many years that you just get used to it. Now you notice I'm taking all that dough and I'm re-balling it because I'm thinking I can get maybe another, oh no, I decided not to. Okay, so I set that aside. Oh, that's right. I use that pastry later on to make some pasties, or meat pasties they call them. Hey, come back. Okay, here I come. And there I am. I'm putting more water on here. And you'll see me doing this over and over again. Now I put this on a cookie sheet, and you can use parchment paper if you have some. That way if any of that filling comes out, it won't end up on your cookie sheet. I'm one of those people that I don't like to, dishwashing is not my thing. So the less I spill in the oven, and the less I do. Now that one, see, I put too much filling in. It's coming back out. There we go. And so with a parchment paper on your cookie sheet, you'll avoid that issue. You just either throw the parchment paper. In my case, I have some sort of a special, I can't remember where I bought it from, but it's something you can use over and over again. Look I'm running out of pie filling. I'm starting to worry that there isn't enough for the next 2. Oh, that one ran over too. We have 2 more to go. I'm going to wipe everything off all the time because I don't want it to get on the back of those. See, I'm being smart now. Now I'm putting the water on first. And finally remember, do that first, do that first. I would think you could make regular pie filling. Let's say you're making a pumpkin pie or a couple of pumpkin pies and just go, oh, instead of making one big pie, let's do a whole bunch of little ones. But this was so darn easy. I think I would have put some cloves in and a few other things, but I followed their recipe. Oh, look, I still have some filling left. Now what am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to roll this out. I'm going to take a little chunk. There was plenty of crust there. I'm going to roll this out and make one more. I thought I made an extra one because it says it makes 6, and I know I made 7 and I ate one right after it came out of the oven. I was a little on the hungry side and it smelled so good coming out of the oven. And that's why it was so warm. I had the oven going, and this was not when we had the cooler weather. And that's another thing I always look for when I go to garage sailing or church bazaars or thrift stores. I like aprons, and I have quite a few of them of different styles and different kinds. But this one I thought was rather nice, and it was soft, and it went with the black top. And not only that, it had a pocket so that I could put that down. That was the main thing. If there was a pocket, I could put that microphone in, and I lost all the audio from the large camera because that's where it was hooked into. And I'm going to try and get the last of this in. Come on, go, go, go. There we go. So this is very simple. I would say my friend's granddaughter could do this without any problems. I think she's in middle school, and to tell you the truth, I think she was in 7th, so I think she's getting up there. Now you can see I spotted that my pastry cloth pretty bad. There's our finished product. That's all you have to do. Oh, and you have to put slits on the top of the, don't forget, put some slits on the top of those little pastry things to let that hot air come out as you're cooking them. Just like a pie. When you make a pie and you have the crust on the top and the bottom, you always take a knife and make some slits in there so that things can bubble out. Okay, I'm actually cleaning up, and I'm going to use that for something else. Actually, oh, no, I take it back. I'm going to put it away for now. The last recipe I'm going to be doing for this particular show is pumpkin juice. And there isn't too much to it. All I have is 2 cups of apple juice, 1 cup of white grape juice, 1 cup of pineapple juice, and what's over in that pumpkin, the little bowl, that's pumpkin. I used the remainder of the pumpkin in the can that I had open. So that's 3/4 cups of pumpkin. If you want to, you could purchase a pumpkin, if you want to, a small pumpkin, and put it in the oven and bake it and do the whole natural thing. And I looked at that and I said, no, I'm not doing that. That's not happening. I'm not going to scrape it and mash it and discard pulpy mass left in the sieve and do this and that. I go, just to get one, it says 1 cup of pumpkin. So I'm using 3/4. And I did this because I wasn't quite sure how pumpkin-y it was going to taste. And I figured it's easier to add pumpkin than it is to take it back out. And as you can see, I just put all the juices together. Not that difficult to do. I like those little whisks. I have so many different kinds of whisks. And this is a fun one. It really works good in liquids. I'm sure that's not what it's meant for, but I like it anyway. So I don't know why I'm not putting the rest of that pumpkin in, but hopefully I am. The other thing, it said to serve it with, see, I am going to put the rest of the pumpkin in. It said to serve with ice cubes. Now, this is my suggestion. I would make a double batch of this pumpkin juice and then bring down your ice cube trays and pour at least one ice cube tray of the pumpkin juice. And then with your punch bowl, such as I have here, you could put that in there, which would keep it cold, but as it melts, it would still be pumpkin juice. And it wouldn't be a diluted water-based pumpkin juice. Now that I liked a lot better. They had just a nice mild taste of pumpkin. Now if you wanted more pumpkin or more of a pumpkin taste, but I actually like the 3/4 cup of pumpkin. It does say to measure out 1 cup. I didn't want it that pumpkiny. You can do as you wish. This show, we're going to be discussing Halloween and how to get that costume together. Now this, I don't know if I can find the beginning of it. Here we go. All this is something like a graduation robe. Look at that. All you do is you put that on. There's your, and if you've watched the Harry Potter shows, they always wear their regular everyday clothes underneath. So the best thing to do, you can find these at any kind of thrift store around Halloween time. It's getting one of these graduation robes. They work great, but you want them in usually the black color. Hats are readily available, and that's not a huge issue. But what about a wand? What happens when you want a wand, but you don't want to spend a lot of money? I was doing a show, and I needed a wand for it. And it wasn't something I had time to go run out and buy. Well, what did I find? I found this. And you're wondering, what is it? Well, I put a little bit of stain on it, and all it is from a hanger. And this is the hanger you want. There's this metal piece underneath, and you take this out, and you pull it out here. There's a nice rounded edge. It's not pointy at all, and it's the same thing on the other side. It's not pointy, just rounded. But this is the hanger you want. So that's an inexpensive wand. That's what I ended up using because I needed something quick. Now this is something I found the other day that could make a nice wand. You'd have to cover it because it is white. And if nobody knows what this is, I'll pull it out. Well, there we go. This is a very small curtain hanger, curtain rod. And I happened to come across it the other day, and I thought, you know, if you put a little bit of super glue or some sort of special glue on here, put this back in here, that glue would set so you can't pull that out. It makes a pretty nice wand. All you would have to do is paint it and color it in. And you have these kind of cool edges. So let's say you want something an indication that you're a Harry Potter fan or something like that. In the first Harry Potter show, they had to have a fancy old key to open a door to get to the Sorcerer's Stone. So here's one I happen to have. And all you have to do is put some ribbon through here. Make it long enough for your neck. And here, wear it like that. Now here's something else I came across. I have these 2 decorative keys. They're not the same size or anything, but you could do something with them. This key here has a little round circle on the top that you could do something with. And if I could attach that to this, you could wear it as an earring. So here's a little piece of wire, or you could use some thread. You don't need anything much. Now this is silver. I don't have any gold, but I just want to see if it's going to work. And if it does, as the saying goes, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't worry about such things. And then you could bring that to the back and then glue it down if you wanted to. Because all you're going to do is open this up and put it in your ear. That's all it is. It's a little, and then you have a key, a different way of wearing a key here. And you want this part in the front. And here's a third key, and another one that if you wanted to, you could put a chain or a ribbon through. I also have this, it's a pin, it holds a pin on it. And that's another thing that can be done, is that this can be glued to this with some super glue, which I could try. Let's try doing that, see what's going to happen. And I don't want to get that super glue on my counter. So let's see if I can. Okay, let's see if this is going to go. What I want is the locked portion on top, and then it goes this way. Now that's going to have to sit there for a while to take. So I'm going to try to be patient and walk away. So here are 3 different ways of wearing a key. The brooch style, like this. The pierced earring style, like this one. Or the old-fashioned silver key around, just as a drapery around your neck, like so. And there it would be. So 3 different kinds of keys. Now what's really impressive, if you're going to play a wizard, is to have a mortar and a pestle. But this is what they use to grind. Let's say you're putting in some herbs and some different things. And if you see them in the potion class where they have stuff in there and they're going like that. So those are a few simple things that you can do for Halloween. Here's your wand. Here's another possible wand. A brooch. Here, let's put this brooch right here. A brooch. A necklace. An earring. Pistol and pedestal. And of course, a graduation robe that works great in any kind of situation where you want to be a witch or a wizard.